Hello, my name is Bara, and I will present a paper called the Girl-Friendly Computer Science Classroom. This one comes from the gender diversity track, so it's a different view on the education, but it is about education, about building education programs that help with retention and recruitment of girls into computer science and software architecture as well. I'm a computer architecture person, but 6 years ago I have co-funded a nonprofit organization called Chiquitas, within which we have actually gathered 500 volunteers teaching computer science to girls and women. So far, it's been over 15,000 of them that we influenced in some way. So we've gathered lots of experience about how a computer classroom should look like so that we do not lose girls unnecessarily at the beginning of the education. To explain this concept a little, I would like to use this one slide to understand that there are certain differences in the tendencies that are more visible with girls and with boys. Of course, you always have individuals on both tails, so we don't want to stereotype. But at the same time, it's actually good to realize that diversity is really beneficial in teams because it is likely to bring different expertise and strengths to the table. So in this picture, I wanted to show you one specific example that is problem-solving strategy. So the literature actually suggests that for problem-solving strategy among boys, it's more typical to make compartments of the problems, to divide the problem into parts and solve each part in isolation. While what is more typical with girls is to actually create a map of the problem space first. And then when this map is built and understood, then start building the problem solution just in parallel upon this context map. So girls tend to create like more complex patterns and more integrative solutions. That's also why they have a higher tendency to be multidisciplinary when being in computing. This is important because this are actually exactly the individuals, like when you look here, these are the individuals that we would like to see in software architecture community, because these are the individuals that have the high perspective, can integrate different fields and domains. But an argument I want to make in this talk is that we are often losing these people, exactly, because these people, when actually starting the education, they are really creating a map of their space, and by that, they are very slow, they have very flat learning curve at the beginning before they start really progressing and achieving some results. And that is a time where they found themselves mixed with more experienced learners in the classroom, where it's difficult to just keep up, and so we often lose them. In this work, we wanted to actually look at creating environment for novice learners who would be supported to stay in the field and actually reach these later phases of their learning curve and join the field, join our community, specifically software architecture, of course. In the work, in paper that is being presented, what we did is that we collected recommendations from literature from this perspective. So what we can do about the learning environment for novice learners in computer science, and then also collected experience from Chiquitas. So we actually ran multiple workshops where we did panel discussions and interviews with our experienced tutors, and we are collecting some recommendations of practices that could be used to create this environment. So we divided this into these categories. So some of them focus on the safe environment as such, in sense of belonging, basically. Some of them like segregation, so creating groups of learners, then working in teams, and personalized learning. So we'll look at them one by one, and I will present some of the highlights. I will not have time for everything, but I hope that you will have time to read the paper. So when we look at creating safe environment, what the literature says is that actually the feeling that you belong and feeling that the environment is like accepting you is one of the crucial factors that decide about retention of girls in computing education. This is why it's actually very important that such a safe environment is getting some attention. The literature is also saying about the environment being non-competitive and about working with failure as a friend and not as a factor that would actually navigate the girls out from computing. Because really they need more time at the beginning. First, for the reason of being really later technology adopters, boys tend to start technology earlier. And then also by having this different problem-solving strategy and needing more time at the beginning to actually create their background and context map. On the right side, you see some experience from the interviews. So what we've seen is that the lecturers talk about huge importance of the informal environment. So really like helping the students to get to know each other, to create community spirit, because this then increases the commitment and engagement. What is very important is this bullet point that is saying something that we have on the walls of our lecture rooms. So it's saying that the only bad question is the question not asked, because we want to really like open this environment for asking many questions and accepting that I might fail, but this is a way of learning. We also engage lots in like fun activities and very, very informal atmosphere. When you look at the segregation, the literature is actually saying that it's good to do some segregation, but there is not agreement on whether to segregate by gender or rather by experience. Typically, people are saying that it's better by experience, but there are some works also recommended segregation by gender. The most important benefit actually to put just the girls or just the novice learners together is the experience of success. Because in a mixed environment, it's very difficult to experience success. And without that, it's very unlikely that the people, the individuals, will put some more effort to continue to stay in the field in computing. With an experience from Chiquitas, what we see is that the girl-only environments work really well, but at the same time, there should be a plan to integrate these girls into the mixed environments later on. So really predicting this learning curve as like very flat and then rising, and finding the right moment to actually integrate the girls into the mixed environment again. And then from the last group, I would like to present shortly. I would say this is the most important one. It's about personalized learning, where when you look into the literature, it mostly speaks about limiting frustration. So in the environment, the teacher typically wants to have enough time for the more experienced students in a classroom, and that's why those who are less experienced typically feel frustrated, because when they are lost, they do not get any help. At the same time, they do not really feel encouraged, and we see that for girls specifically, it's very important to really feel encouragement from the environment. That's also visible from the questionnaire studies we've run. In Chiquitas, we've introduced something we call sticky note method. This sticky note method is actually used for monitoring progress within the classroom, so that we really see like how well each individual is doing. And we have assistant mentors who are helping individually those who are slower or faster than the others. We also advise the lecturers to have points in the education program, which we called inclusive restart. So even the learner who just got lost can resume and continue with the group. So these are some of the insights we have. That's it for this presentation. I will be very happy to answer any questions. There is much more in the paper, so please use this opportunity and read the paper and come back to me if you have any questions also outside this conference. Thank you very much.